Okay, so has it started?
Yes, everything it should be running.
Should be running? Oh, yeah, it's red.
Yep. Let's go.
It's all good. Okay.
Looking good.
Can you
looking
do
good.
the intro?
How do I intro?
Intro.
Hello, this is Stampy.
Oh, you used to watch Stampy too? Oh, I watched Stampy too. Bro, he was so good.
Oh, I'm gonna become a Minecraft YouTuber inspired by. He's one of my inspirations.
Oh,
I just bought Minecraft yesterday.
really?
Camera flex.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
You just bought Minecraft.
Yeah.
I could have just given you my account.
Nah.
No, wait,
Before that, I used
Optifine.
my what? I used my cousin's account like last time.
Oh.
Because my Pocket Edition was my birthday gift when I was 8 years old.
Bro, Minecraft was everything back then.
Goated.
It was so good.
The
I
history.
was a bit war sweat. Like,
Oh,
do you play like Hypixel before?
yes.
Yeah.
But I wasn't too much into it. I like watching.
Dream models.
Yeah,
I
I watched
watched-
Dream. I was so into Dream at one point of time. During,
Yeah,
like
same.
the post-COVID
Do.
era.
Start speed running.
I think he came out very like at a very good time. During COVID, like
Yeah.
there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Then he just posts all these bangers.
Oh, he was like popping off.
Do you guys watch Techno Blade?
I only knew him because of Dream lah.
Oh.
I watched him like quite OG, like a while back.
I see.
I started watching since the Sky Wars commentary days.
Yeah,
Those are very interesting.
very old.
Then passed away.
I like how we're
Yeah.
starting a Minecraft right now.
Okay lah.
I told you I bought the Techno's plushie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The U2s.
You
have
should
all
bring
those-
it to the set. As
Sure.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I knew those.
Tribute, yes.
Ah.
So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay. Like my name.
Yes.
Okay.
And what you're doing without being too specific.
because
we're
everyone
trying
can
to
see
get
how
out.
handsome you are. But we all know you.
Okay.
Yeah, what's important to you? What are you doing with your life now?
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Tobias. I am 19 this year. Quite young lah. I am studying in Temasek Polytechnic. I study food, nutrition, and culinary science. And I love Jesus.
Yeah.
I love Jesus.
Okay.
I love playing football as well. I do football, and I love exercising. Yeah,
Mm.
that's
The man of faith, man of the sports and exercising.
yeah.
Okay.
Faith, fitness, other F.
Yeah.
Family.
Food.
Family.
Yes, I love. Yes.
And personally, the first time I met you was through Temasek Poly Praying Point.
Prayer point. Yes.
Basically, I joined
Yeah.
Josiah.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I was so surprised by the way you presented yourself. Like, you were really a man of faith. Like, I can sense it. And you lead the meeting very well. And not to mention, like, when during all the worship, you were like playing a guitar and stuff. I was like, wow, this guy.
I mean, obviously,
Mm.
like God brought me through a lot to that point, to reach to
Mm.
that point lah. Yeah, it's like, I mean, there are so many aspects to it, like just how to speak in front of people is one, how to play a guitar in front of people is another one. Each of them have their own like little story lah. Yeah, I don't know which one you wanna hear first.
I think you can start with the musical instrument one.
Okay.
There are like two types of people. One that can play and one those that can't. But those that can't, I think I can say for them that we always kind of envy, like, oh, should have worked on it when we are young. Or
Yeah.
why can't we pick that up?
Uh-huh.
So what kind of cost? What is like the origin story of picking up guitar?
Yeah. I mean, first off,
Mm.
I was never a music guy lah. I was always the sports guy. In my
Mhm.
family, my brother was the one with the piano grade 5. I couldn't even complete grade 1. That kind of thing. I wasn't too much into music. And then it's like, when you're young,
Mm.
you're like, okay, I'm very competitive. But I know I'm not better than my brother in music.
Mm.
So I'm just going to stick in my own lane. I'm going to be better here at sports. So that was me for like the longest time. Well, up till I was like 11 lah. Yeah. Then I still remember lah. Like I enjoyed listening to music. I mean, who doesn't lah? Right. And I had an opening basically in my church. They were giving lessons to play the guitar. And obviously it was so that you could come back and serve the church as a guitarist in the like the children's ministry over there.
It's like you take first, then you give back.
Yeah.
It's the Levites, right?
Yeah, so they called it School of Modern Levites back then. And I still remember. I didn't really want to go for it when they announced it. They announced it from the pulpit, like the children in the children ministry. They were like, okay, so sign up if you want. It's like three or four lessons over the course of June. Like, because you have June holidays, just come once a week, that kind of thing. And obviously me, I was like, I have like CCA, school football. I was only P5 back then, right? But I was still in a CCA, playing football. I was like, that's my thing. I just want to focus on that. Then I still remember my mom. She was like, she was like encouraging me, just go for it. And my mom was always the kind that's like, just go for these kind of things, especially when you're young, just go. You see, you never know, right? You never know what can happen.
I think that's good. Exposure.
Yeah. And because back then, like it was guitar was like a, what's it called? Topic in music class in the primary school, in my primary school. So I was already kind of learning it. My mom knew I was already learning it a little bit, but like if you knew like primary school music class, it's like nothing you don't care.
Dun.
Yeah, you just dun. So she knew I was already learning it. And I had like if you could even call it a foundation of it So I was like, okay, I'll just go just try, go up, try. And then my parents were like, they were super supportive that I would go for it. Then they bought me my own guitar and everything. And obviously I was happy also I was okay, I can try something new. Buy my own guitar, new things. As an 11-year-old kid.
Right?
Yeah, so as an 11-year-old kid, you're happy. So I went for the thing. It wasn't great I wasn't great the first few lessons. I still remember obviously they're church people. They were super nice. They were teaching me, helping me. But I couldn't really get it down especially only in like total of 6 to 8 hours over the course of 1 month, right? I wasn't super invested into it either, right? And then they were like, okay it's okay after that camp, just they told me, okay, come back next year. We'll have the same thing next year. You work on it yourself, right? But me being a P5 kid, I did not work on it at all. I just go back to school, do my own thing, play football, don't really care and I just my own business for 1 year
I
basically.
mean, you had school, training, everything. How?
Yeah
You don't have a system in place to keep you
I had
practicing.
I had no lessons going back or anything. So I would pick it up, but then I was like, I'll give up so immediately because I wouldn't know what to play, didn't know how to practice. Not much. I try to recall what they taught me in that lesson, but didn't really find the passion for it.
I mean, at that point of time, it's just something cool that you could have picked up.
Yeah.
But don't really have a deeper reason, right? Yeah. Like sports or everything, you already have people encouraging you, expectations.
Yeah.
You have to get better. You got something to aim towards.
Yeah.
Guitar is just let me just try.
Yeah.
Then if I pick out a bit, interesting.
If I'm good, I'm good. If I'm not good, I'm not good.
Yeah.
So Then it came around 1 year later. I was like, I have not practiced at all. And the people that were there, they were asking me if I'm coming back. And I'm like, yeah, I'll come back. But I still remember my parents come and ask me again with the form when I was P6 this time. And they're like, so do you want or not? And I was like, sure. I mean, because I still remember that those few days that when I was there, it was meaningful, right? It was still good. There's also a lot of talks and Christian values they instill in you, and I enjoyed it So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? But then I realized they're gonna expect me to be good, or they're gonna expect me to have improvements from 1 year, right? So I was like, hey, crap, let me try and pick this up again. So I tried. I focused really hard for a week before going
Intensive
back.
camp.
Yeah, by myself, try to remember, play songs and everything. So I went back, and then suddenly I was like, when I tried really focus in that 1 week before I went back to the lessons, it's shit, I can kind of do this. It's like, it's not horrible. And I can show that it's better than last time, which is like quite freaky. Like, I didn't play at all. How come I can be better than last time?
Yeah.
But it's just because I really like put my mind into it. And then when I went back, obviously I wasn't perfect. I would still play a song with quite a few mistakes. But then
most important thing is there's progress.
Yeah, there was progress.
Yeah.
There was progress. And
One week of
I was
intensity
like
just
quite surprised with myself.
mm.
Wow. Okay. And then they were like, okay, like they were saying like I've improved and everything. I was encouraged by it. Because in the back of my mind, I was like, I need to do this for like 1 week.
Validation.
Validation. Yeah. So, but I wasn't great. I still wasn't great. And they were like, okay lah, if we ever need like more guitarists, we can contact you. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, and I'll just play on my own. And through that camp, again, I was like, I actually enjoy playing the guitar. I started to enjoy, right? Because I could play songs now. I could play the songs that I liked to play. Stuff like that lah.
The reason come in.
Yeah, the reason come is like, okay, now I can actually play a little bit. Right. So a few months later down the road, the pastor, the kids ministry pastor, he like texted me saying like, okay, do you want to serve lah, basically? Do you want to be a Levite? They called it a Levite. Then we have to audition you and everything. So I was like, okay, sure. Then I went for the audition. I played a song that I knew I could play. Then they were like, okay, like this guy, not great. They were like, you still got a lot to work on. But
you got potential.
Yeah, it's like we'll place you under this person, place you under this guy, in a band. So back then we had like a band system, and I would be placed under a guy. There was also a guitarist which was way more experienced than me, and he would play with me lah. And I still remember the first like two weeks that I was there with the band. I wasn't stepping on stage. I was just observing what was going on, how to do things, what the guitarist was doing.
Like internal.
Yeah, something like that lah, like an intern. Then I still remember like the third week, they put me on stage, but they didn't plug me in.
Oh.
Yeah. So they put me on stage, so they didn't plug me. So it's like a really slow, like easy.
But you can hear.
But I can hear myself
lah.
I hear myself because it's an acoustic guitar. I hear myself. I know, and then I can play along with the band, but I am not actually being heard. So there was like the pressure wasn't really there for me yet. Yeah. And I still remember like the day that I had to like play, I didn't even bring my strap. So I had to sit down and play guitar. If you see all the like people in like church, they'll be standing up and playing lah. Yeah, then I had to like go and buy a strap, come back and everything lah. Then I remember the first time I played, oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. Because like first time you're playing in front of people and I was plugged in and everything. And even though there was another guitarist like covering basically everything lah, I still had to play. Right? People were expecting to hear something from me.
The pressure.
Yeah, so the pressure got to me like so bad. Like I still remember I was like, what chord am I even playing? I don't even know where we are in the song. Where's the band doing the whole set? But that was like really good experience for me lah, to experience that. So after that, they just said, it's okay, next week go back on there. Next week go back on there. And slowly, I started playing more songs, started being more confident, started copying the guitarist that was like my mentor. Right? Started copying what he did, started doing things. And slowly just got more comfortable up there lah. And it was like, because of the sheer amount of like volume of like how much I was playing in front of people. I was like Sec 1, by the way. I was like the youngest guy in the band. All of them were like 18, 17. Like my mentor at the time, he was 16. So he was like Sec 4, a senior to a Sec 1 lah. Right? So
and actually at that point of time, although you say 3-4 years, but when we are young, that's a big age.
Yeah. So this guy has gone through puberty, finished puberty, looks like it lah. And I haven't even gone through puberty yet, that kind of thing. So to me, it was like, this guy is like, who I really look up to lah. And yeah, because we would do things like Sunday morning back then, we had like 2 kids services. So we would go like, we would finish one service and then we would travel to another location and then we'll serve. So just because of that amount of what I did, I started slowly just get used to it lah. And my love to play the guitar just grew from that. purely just from that. And I would practice, I would enjoy playing. And then slowly, that's how I became like a guitarist. Honestly, I don't even consider myself a guitarist yet. I know people will like say like you are a guitarist lah, but
Yeah,
I
it's quite
honestly
legit.
just know the basics. If anyone who knows music, they'll know that I just know basics. But I am good at the basics. I'm like
Master the
decent
fundamentals.
I'm decent at the basics. I'm decent at chords. I'm decent at plucking chords. But I can't play like elaborate like leading lines or electric
Because I
guitar or
think
anything like
your
that.
love of playing the guitar is not to like be the best guitarist.
Yeah.
It's more like just to share the music with everyone.
Yep.
Being able to play
Yep.
songs that you like also.
Yeah.
Like a way
That's
for you.
Yeah.
It's like therapeutic for you also, right?
Yes.
Playing music.
Yeah. And obviously, because it's like worship in Christian context, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to be able to worship God through song, through music. It was something that I really enjoyed lah. And then I still remember this is like the biggest part of like my guitarist journey. So I still remember I've been serving for slightly over 6 to 8 months around there. They called me around June in Sec 1 lah. Around there. June in Sec 1. Then June the next year, right? I started playing. I was still regularly serving lah. And then the worship pastor called me and asked me and like texted me like, do you want to serve in this year's youth camp? And I was Sec 2. I was Sec 2 by this time. They were like, do you want to serve in this year's youth camp? So basically youth is different from kids ministry lah. Kids ministry is like, I serve in kids ministry means I'm like serving from P3 to P6. And the number of people you were serving is probably about a class of people, like 20, 30, max about 50 kids. And they're all kids lah. So one of the biggest like pressures, or like the fact that most kids, they didn't know what you're playing lah. Even if you mess up, they don't really know. Unless those kids that like, parents send them to grade 8 piano, all that kind of
playing
thing.
like pitches in the womb.
Perfect
pitch.
Yeah.
Creating a monster.
Yeah. So I didn't really know like what to expect. But they asked me like, do you want to play in this year's youth camp? I was like, sure. But apparently the youth camp was from like 13-year-old all the way to like 19-year-old.
So it's another round of pressure.
Yeah, so I was like,
Okay.
oh, this is a different pressure. This is a different level of pressure. Like literally my mentor was in that camp.
Okay.
Yeah. I was
Wow.
like, what? I'll be playing for about 500 people. And that was a different level. I was like, what is going on? And I stepped up on there lah. I just played. And I played to what I knew. And I still remember like the first time I was on there, I was like, I looked at like the number of youths that were on the floor. I was like, oh my gosh, this is something I've never experienced in my life. And yes, it's to worship God, right? But of course lah, the pressure of like thinking like, oh my gosh, what are people gonna think? I'm like, so it's such a small guy. What if I mess up? Like one thing as well, right? I was like, I didn't know much lah, but my parents were quite angry because there was no piano. It was just me and the cajon. So anything melody wise, right? Or like it could be heard. Through the whole
Very
sound.
acoustic.
Yes. It was just
bare
room
vocals.
for errors.
the room for error was huge. I was like, I still remember rehearsing anyway, and I would hear the sound system like booming. Right. And I hear the moment I mess up, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so obvious. I was like, this is nuts. Yeah. But I still remember I still remember going up before on stage. I was like, God, I need your help, bro. I need your help and I need to be calm. And he just told me, just focus on worshiping lah. So I went up there, focused on worshiping, having fun, focus on him. And I still remember I was like, that was a very, very smooth set. Coming off on the stage lah. And then I see like my mentors, like the people from my band. I was like, oh my gosh, you just served in front of 500 youths. How do you feel? Right? I was like, wow. Like I felt great lah. And I felt super happy to be used by God just to be up there and play the guitar. Yeah, like that's kind of like my story. Then after that, I was like, bruh, nothing could compare to this. So any like performance, like even performance lah, even though it's not a performance, like worship is not performance, but anything that regarded like guitar,
public facing.
It just could. I haven't faced anything else as big as that. Yeah.
I mean, that is a... Okay, first of all, you tell that story very well. And I can just... It's cool to see the character development.
Yeah.
Like, having all these fear, all these doubts. Like, especially the second round. The first round already went through that. Second round is even bigger. It's like 10 times or 100 times bigger than serving the kids. And you still focus on your... I guess at that point of time, your calling, which is to serve, which is you ground yourself in God lah, and carry yourself, just go through that. That still require a lot of courage. Doing it despite of fear.
I think the biggest thing is honestly, like the fact that I look at myself and I'm like, I'm not a music guy. I'm really not a music guy, and I know myself. I'm like, if you ask me to put like top 5 talents up there, I wouldn't put music up there at all. I'd be like, okay, I can do sports, can like exercise. I love exercising, stuff like that, right? But I wouldn't put music as one of them. So I think one of the biggest things is honestly like how God brings me through things, right? Slowly but surely, right? He's from P5 that day when like he opens up this door for me and just for just do it. You don't really know what's gonna happen in your life and how he's gonna use you, how he's gonna use that talent.
Who he's gonna put in your life that helps you with everything. I think your mentor helped.
100%.
The pastor that called you probably helped you a lot also to bring you through everything. All the people, and it's not just like a one-sided thing. You being there also helped them to develop themselves as well.
I think, so it's like the day on P5, when I was going to go into that class, right? Had no idea I was going to be serving at youth camp in front of 500 youths, that kind of thing, right? But just to say yes, I'm like, okay, sure, why not, right? I think it's one of the biggest things, like how God can use you, even though it's not your strength, it's not something you... Okay, like now maybe, like 5 years later, around like 90, I say, okay, like, maybe I enjoy guitar, play it so much, maybe it's one of my strengths. Right? But it's just like how something that was not my strength became a strength because you allowed God to bring you through that.
You became competent.
Yeah. So it's really just being I'm just wowed by God how He can use anyone slowly but surely. You don't know what it may not mean like you are okay like for those people who wanna serve, like it may not mean like I don't know whether you understand what's being a cell leader.
I think he explained to me.
So in a church context, it may not mean you will be cell leader tomorrow, but it may mean right now you just take up this serving role that's like a one-time thing, and you slowly develop yourself. And then that one day you become a cell leader, or one day you become that pastor.
So taking on different roles at different stages of your life to develop yourself and be of service to others. Then at some point you are the one being served. You're the one getting wisdom, getting encouragement.
Exactly, that is spot on. Yeah, exactly.
That is a very good system in of itself.
And to show that you are able to be capable in the small things, responsible for small things, do it well before you can be handled the harder tasks.
I think it gives you a lot of opportunities to, like I said, like stepping out on that stage. That is something very hard to do. And once you do that, once you overcome that hurdle, it kind of really improves your character so much that other things, even it could be the same intensity or even more, but you kind of trust yourself a little bit more. You know that you still have to get through it. And what's the ways that can happen?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and then at the end of the day, you're just like so grateful that everything happened. Right? That day that you said yes, the day that you were weekend serve. That's why now most of the people that come to me and say like, oh, I don't know whether I want to do this. Like just like, oh, my cell leader or my friend asked me to serve here or serve there. I don't really know whether I want to do this. Even though it's like it's not my strength and something like that, I'm just like, just go for it. Just do it.
Well, what do you think is stopping them from going for it?
Probably, if there's one thing, it's fear lah. It's fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough, fear of, like wasting your time, like all these things lah, like just fear, like of anything and everything, that what could go wrong, that kind of thing.
The judgment thing is quite serious because in like our tribal instinct is like if we mess something up, we'll get like banished. Then without the tribe, our survival will be like being threatened. So that kind of pass on to today. Although like we actually not threatened, we still get food, we still get shelter, despite like screwing up in front of other people. But you still get fear that
just being fear to be scrutinized, fear of everything. Right? And my biggest thing is like when I tell people, if you're scared or if you're fearful, that's not from God, because God doesn't bring fear. Right? God will never give you fear. He'll put you in situations to put trust in Him, and that might bring fear, but He will never give you fear. So that should never be a reason why you don't take up something, because fear is not from God.
On that note, what's your greatest fear?
Oh, my greatest fear. Like a physical, like scared, or like
Any fear? What's the greatest fear?
like a theoretical.
maybe the one that's the most like keep coming up in your current life.
I think, obviously it's based on religion again. But it's like, it can be a healthy and unhealthy fear. I would say is that I completely lose that connection with God. Right? The connection with God, the relationship with God. Like even some days it's like I don't even know whether God is there. Right? Or like, have I done things that just like God is turned away from me? Am I in sin? Those things are to live a life that is not under the hand of God. It's one of my biggest fears. Because I've seen the life that you can have that's not under the hand of God. And even though that you think you're okay, even though that all's good, it just isn't right. And that's one of my biggest fears.
There's something missing.
To just lose it, I think it's one of my biggest fears. Because it's like, okay, what now? Right?
Lose all security, all stability.
Yeah. I think that's one of my biggest fears too.
Maybe it could be a good thing.
Yes, it could be a good thing because it pushes me to maintain the relationship with God. It pushes me to constantly check myself, because sin is what separates us from God. And it's like, okay, am I in sin? Do I have to like repent of anything? Is there anything that I've doing things on my own that I'm pleasing to God? All these things just helps me out.
The introspective part of you just keep coming up, and I think that is very meaningful, and because we are all going towards a direction, just that a lot of people don't kind of audit where they're going, and you're doing it in terms of like, am I committing sin? Am I doing what I should be doing? These sort of things. I think it's really good because for whatever purpose or to serve God, whatever, you really need to be able to. Your relationship with yourself first needs to be strong. I think you are cultivating that on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I think it's just constant checking of like, where am I? What are my motives? What is, why am I doing the things I'm doing? Right? Just checking that. Obviously, like it can be bad as well, right? Like I said, it can be good and bad because it's like saying fear is like saying like whatever I've done, whatever mistakes I've done, right? It cannot means that God can't save me, right? And
Can be used for shame.
Shame myself. Can be used to allow myself to drown in guilt. Allow myself to be constantly like depressed, whatever it is, right? It's another way, but it's just how I constantly check myself.
Hold yourself accountable to God.
That's good.
I think I heard from either during one of
during the prayer point, or I think Josiah said before, sometimes it's just a matter of bringing awareness. Like you were just, what's the word? You lack. So when you don't know about something, what's the word?
Conscious, unconscious, ignorance.
Yeah, ignorance.
Oh yes.
Sometimes it's just yeah. I think for you, I listen a lot about ignorance, and I think a lot of people don't grasp what ignorance is. But in this way, I kind of like can see it, like if you are doing introspective work, which is really important for development for anything, you kind of know that like the only way out is to kind of go away from ignorance. So you have to like either learn something from someone or from the past, from smart people that pass on the knowledge. And sometimes you'll find answer there.
I think behind all ignorance is pride. Right? Thinking that all's good, thinking that, even I myself faced it, and I'm constantly facing it, and I still struggle with it. I can assure you right now there's hidden pride, right, within almost anyone, right? Just to say like that pride to think that everything is good, like there's nothing really wrong in my life, right? I don't need God's help. I don't need help from other people. I don't need all this, and then to like say that all's good. I don't need to read God's word today, or I don't need to learn about this. I don't need all that. The ignorance stems from pride. It stems from thinking that you know it all, thinking that you can handle yourself.
I've read enough.
Yes.
Ignorance is bliss, but it's like a very selfish, blinding bliss that will close you off from growth or
Exactly. Right. The ignorance is a epidemic, I would say. It's really bad.
But where do you think that humans get the pride from?
That's a good question. I would say humans get the pride from their innate desire to be God. It's really difficult to explain this, but I'll try.
From my perspective, it sounds like everyone is worshipping something, but a lot of people make it themselves.
Yes.
So it's like the super ego about themselves in psychology.
Exactly.
It's like, if I don't think I'm that important, that all just that great, then you don't feel as important. Like, you just feel very negligible. This we are like, not even a peck of sand in like this whole universe. So we want to feel something. So we develop that.
Feel important, feel wanted, feel needed, feel like you are part of something. Yes. Right. I think we all have that desire to be, right? And naturally what we will do is like, it's kind of like what Adam did, right? Adam and Eve from the Bible, right? The serpent, the devil said, if you eat this fruit of
knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah, knowledge of good and evil, right? You become more like God, right? And they did it because they wanted that, because they wanted to feel more important. They wanted to know. They didn't want to have to submit and surrender, right? And that led them to the fall, right? The first sin, the biggest fall, right? And I think that also stemmed from pride, same thing, right? It stemmed from thinking that they could handle it, thinking that they can be better than God.
The desire for power.
Yeah, the desire for more of himself and less of submitting to God and all this kind of thing. And that's the what we call sinful nature. Right? Sinful nature in all of us to constantly try and be that, right? How do you say? It's natural. It's very natural in all of us, and it's something that we all have to realize now.
And if you're not in control of it, most of the people nowadays living in agony or like self-imposed suffering is usually stem from that.
Exactly.
It's like you let your pride, you let your ego kind of make your life go everywhere that you can't control anymore.
You think it's what you want, but it's not really what you need. What's your concept of or what does sin mean to you?
What does sin mean to me? I mean, the official meaning is to miss the mark. The mark is obviously God's standard, God, that communion with God, that oneness with God, right? So, like an analogy is like God is here, and if you don't hit that standard, you don't hit that mark, we miss it, like that's sin, right? Sin falls short, and wherever God isn't, that is where quote unquote death is death, spiritual death, right? But obviously that's like what we term as hell lah. Right? So in this life, right, we have to repent and sanctify ourselves so that we can be again one with God and community. But obviously we can't achieve that here on earth because we live in the form, we live in on earth, right? Okay, be fair. Some denominations will disagree, but anyways, what we believe in the church is that, or like the what's it called, charismatics, Protestants, right? We believe that, that we will only be one fully with God when we are back in heaven, right? And we will receive new bodies, we will receive basically new selves, right? And we will now be able to be fully one with God because that is what we were intended to be, right? And that is where there is no sin, there is no suffering, there is no all this, we are fully one with God. And people think one is like, oh, that doesn't mean we become God, like we are now inside God, and then it's like, no, it's not that, right? Oneness is like, for example, if I put it in this analogy, right? Oneness in a team, right, of any sports team, right? Oh, it's not the best analogy, but I'll just go with this. A sports team that plays as one, right? A team that plays as one, a team that knows all their rules, a team that can play together, right, as one. That is oneness, right? And it can be anyone.
Each individual being playing their parts.
Yes, to form one team. And similarly, right, that's kind of like us with God, right? We are just that aligned, we are that on the same page, we are so aligned with our hearts. My heart and his heart are aligned. My heart is aligned with his heart, right? His wants, his everything is aligned with what we want.
Like, I think God created all sentient beings, right?
So, like living.
Like living sentient beings.
Yes.
So in that sense, it's the ideal, like not just as like give an example of sports team. It's the ideal, like all sentient beings, like all beings. So being one part of it, or like serve as a whole.
To be one with Christ is for us, basically our spirits, our hearts are fully aligned.
The idea is that while we are sort of on this earth, imperfect world, everything, fallen world, then it's impossible for us to be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to, only in maybe the spiritual heaven, we can be perfect.
Yeah. That's the ideal, I guess. Right. But obviously on this earth, right, there was one person that could do it, that was Jesus. Right? And he set the example. He set
The ideal.
What we should be doing, right? And the life that we're supposed to live, right? He laid it out all for us to see. And even though it's technically impossible to be Jesus, right? It's impossible for me now already. Like I've lived 19 years of my life with sin, right? But that is not the aim. The aim is actually not to be that perfect being. The aim is just to be one with God. Because that's where love is found. That's where true love and true satisfaction and true joy is found. Right? And that's what God wants for us.
So are you saying that the process of repenting, of striving to be the ideal, even though you know that you cannot be the perfect, you cannot be Jesus anymore, but still doing it, that itself is the
Because over here you get to experience God's love here. You get to experience what God wants for you here. You get to still experience the gift called life here, right? And even though, quote unquote, you can't be perfect, right? That is not like, that shouldn't stop us. That shouldn't stop us from trying to, okay, again, we are the ones that shouldn't be trying. There's a whole other concept. But anyways, we should be one with God. That oneness with Christ, that oneness that, my heart's desires, right? My sinful desires are no longer with me, and I just desire what God wants for my life. That joy and that satisfaction in understanding that, God wants me to love my neighbor. God wants me to love the people around me. That suddenly just brings so much more joy. That suddenly just brings so much more joy than anything that I could give, bless myself with. Right? And I feel like that is just so much more, like people will just understand what I mean when they actually, go through that
true fulfillment.
Yes, that.
It is the belief that you do have a purpose on this earth. You're put on this earth for a reason. And it may not be perfect, you may not be perfect, but it's a trying. So maybe like we said earlier about the trial run sort of thing. So you put with kids maybe to perform on stage, to trial run, and it's a short sort of process. Then for maybe building up to a longer, maybe eternal process, like eternal life afterwards. That's the main belief.
I mean, of course, the work we do here, the things that we do on earth, everything will be accounted for, right? Everything will be shown. So, in a sense, whatever we do on earth also, there is a consequence in heaven, good or bad, right? Obviously, it is not, whatever we do on earth is not our ticket to heaven, right? That's not particular, but everything we do here has a consequence, right? And whatever we do here on earth, it stems from one thing, which is our heart, right? And God does not judge our actions, God judges our heart. He looks at our heart, He only really sees where our heart is like. This is obviously Christian perspective.
Okay, because I'm trying to understand, I'm still learning for everything. I'm learning, currently I'm just learning from going for this sort of random, I wouldn't say random, but I also surprised myself that I went for the DPP. Actually learned a lot. I also go for sermons for Tibetan Buddhism. Those it's some sort of service they teach lessons also. So from a perspective, I'm someone that just learning. So I have a lot of questions. For instance, God judges your heart. How can you constitute what your heart is?
What can you constitute what?
What is the heart? Is it mentality, attitude, or love? What is the heart?
Okay. So I guess it is what are your motives? It constitutes of why are you doing it? Is it out of love or is it out of selfish intention? Is it out of for myself to gain, or is it for God to be glorified? What does God glorify mean? It means that you live a life, right? You glorify something, right? It means to have more of that thing, right? When you say, if I were to describe something as, an over glorification of something, means that thing just stands out so much more than it should have, right? For example, so that's what glorification should mean.
It's a hierarchy of importance in your life, sort of thing. So if you're over prioritizing something, so it's in a hierarchy that's above what it should actually be. Wrong desire, maybe. I mean, everything boils down to desire.
Your heart condition. So in a sense, what does to glorify God mean? It means to live a life where yourself is less and God is more. Right? The love of God is shown more. Your desire to, for example, as simple as walking down the street and you see someone who is homeless or whatever, right? That simple act of passing it when nobody's around, right? Nobody knows that you are giving this $10 or $15, whatever it is, right? Nobody knows, you don't get any praise, you don't get anything. All you do is lose $15. And it's just truly just to bless that person. And you know yourself, right? That this even might be like, okay, I'm just proving to myself that I am a good person.
Yeah,
right?
it could be.
It could be. Or it could be, I just want to bless this person because God will bless this person. Right? And I believe God wants me to bless this person. Right? And there's a lot of that back and forth between your heart. It's like, okay, why am I doing this? Does that mean we shouldn't do it, even though that my heart condition is like, for example, like I just want to prove to myself that I'm a good person. No, but it means that you are still denying yourself to a certain degree. And what does Jesus say? Means deny yourself and follow me. Right? You still have to deny your want to keep that money. You still have to deny your desire to, just not be a part of it. Right? There's still that line in us, I feel.
The cutting out the lower desires, letting the higher desire win.
Yes.
Having doing things out of a purpose that is bigger than just ourselves.
Yes.
I think whether we all have that argument, should I do this or should I just ignore someone else do it? But until you actually do it, and especially if the deed you can kind of foresee, I think humans, we have this tendency to be able to have to project into ourselves into the future to see what our actions, what are the consequences, and if we do this, what are the consequences? If we do that, what is the alternate timeline kind of thing? And if you really have something that you can see clearly, that whatever that your blessings have an impact on that person's life, I think you should have to go and try. Like the feeling you get from it is really, it's really like you cannot really describe it. It feels full in you. Yeah.
To show love to somebody, it doesn't mean that you are doing it just because you want to. True love isn't based on my feeling or based on whether I want to do it. In fact, true love is when I don't want to do it. Right? It's true love isn't something that we based on my emotion, right? Because emotions aren't constant. But love is constant. Love should never be something that isn't constant.
It's a commitment to make the right choice towards.
Yes. So love is actually a choice. I would say love is the choice to say, in spite of what I'm feeling, in spite of what I think, in spite of me wanting to keep that $10, I'm gonna do it anyway. Right? That's what love should be, lah.
Yeah.
Right. For example, I feel like a lot of people was like relationships even, right? Relationship like boy and girl dating, whatever. Like I hear this a lot nowadays. Like, if he wanted to, he would.
In what context?
For example, just to bring a girl flowers or something, right? Then the girl is like, he never bring me flowers. And he says like, she says, if he wanted to, he would, right? Well, yes and no, right? For the guy to bring flowers and to show love to the girl, it would require him to deny himself to a certain degree. It would require him to say, you know what? Even though like I'm lazy lah, for example, lazy to get the flowers or something. I'm gonna do it anyway. So it may not necessarily mean like he wants to, and because of he's so in love with you, then he go and do it. No, it's more of like because I know this means so much to you, I'm gonna do it anyway. And it's in spite of what I feel. Maybe flowers is not the best example. Maybe it's like doing the dishes at home, right? It can be anything like that, and that's what to me love is lah. Right?
It's like once you don't just settle with, like, I think commitment, love in relationships. There's no like once we decide to get married, then everything will be safe.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
always have to make the commitment to make this work.
Yes.
And I think why a lot of like family nowadays, the parents fall out of love, although they still together, they make the commitment to stay together, but they didn't adhere to the commitment to stay in love. I think that is the problem of why, personally, I think a lot of families have like that insecure base, which is causing a lot of like distress, a lot of kids' development, because they don't have the trust in their home, in their
Yeah.
family. I think most of it is they forgot that actually committing to your partner for love, like doing these random acts of like service or even just, because recently I read this book called 8 Dates. It's about like how these dates are set up to really communicate with your partner, to find out, like just make that commitment to the date. And the date should be something so important that like it should be marked in your calendar, and like you should like cancel everything else for it, because that is a commitment. It's a place for you two to talk about stuff in a way that is safe and you guys are all in. Because a lot of times we kind of like, we want our partner to know what we're thinking, but we don't have the settings for it. And then the frequency is not tuned in also. Then this is like a place for us to align that. I think that's very important, and making like framing commitment in terms of towards love instead of towards family, which is like the family unit thing.
Yeah.
I think that's quite important.
Yes. And I think the distorted mindset that, love is when I feel good and I feel like, I'm so in love with this person, and I just wanna, do everything for this person. Like that feeling one day will go away.
That's infatuation.
Yeah. Because feelings, there is no one constant feeling. Because love isn't a feeling. That feeling, yes, it helps sometimes, right? The feeling of, okay, I'm gonna do this because I enjoy to do it and it helps you. Then it's like, I am happy to help you and all this. Yeah, it helps. But it should never be that deciding factor of whether you do something or not. It should always be, I'm gonna regard your needs above mine. I'm gonna regard that the fact that, this means so much to you, or this is going to help you a lot more than me. And that's why I do it. Right? Because that's why I love you.
Yeah.
And the true test is on the worst day.
Yeah.
Feeling the worst.
Yeah.
Everything is going wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's like 3, like think of connection as like 3. Like I think infatuation, love, like doing all the initial phases, the honeymoon phase is just to, it's more like I wouldn't say surface because it's still deep, but like the more rooted, the deeper stuff is usually the choice, your values, like how you guys come together in communion. I think that is something that really, when times are tough, if it's deeply rooted, that's when you will stay through all hardship. And yeah, like friendship or whatever, like being good friends with your partner, that also helps a lot also. Yeah, those are way more important.
But I think a lot of people always confuse love with like, to like somebody, right? They always think it's like, oh, I like this person so much to the point that I love them. That's what a lot of people think, right? A lot of people think it's like, I like this person, but I don't love them yet. Or I, they see it as a spectrum.
Okay.
To like, to love. To me, they are two completely separate things. Because why? Jesus says, love your enemies. How are you supposed to love somebody that you don't like? Right? So it's two completely different concepts. Right? Like, you can like somebody, but you can don't love them. You can like somebody so much, but yet you don't show any action that shows love to them at all. But yet you can hate somebody, or you dislike this person so much, you find them annoying lah. You just not on the same wavelength, but you can still show love to that person. You can still, for example, when you're out with the person as a group, you can still send the person home.
I think one good immediate example is like your family. Sometimes you can don't like, let's say if you have siblings or whatever, you can don't like them, but like if something were to happen to them, you will still at least a lot closer to the decision to sacrifice yourself. Maybe that's one example. But like, let's say your Korean K-pop star idol, you can like them a lot. You can say that you love them. You can say that you will get hit by a car for them. But like, I think that's just virtue signaling. When it really comes down to it, do you think you'll do it?
Exactly.
You can like that person so much that you think about them so much, but like I don't think you truly love them.
Exactly. Yeah. I just think that people need to learn to love.
Mm.
And what does that mean? I mean, this is something my brother told me, right? And even I myself, right? No one can graduate the school of learning how to love,
Okay.
because it's a constant thing that you have to do every day, right? To learn to love somebody, one person, right? To learn to love your wife, your future wife in the future, it's gonna take a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? There's still gonna be times where you don't want to do something, right? But then you have to do it because you love the person, right? And that alone, then what does it mean for every single person on earth, right?
It's like, am I an imperfect being? Am I even worthy of love myself?
Exactly, right? Just to live in on this earth, right? Until we are with God, right? Because God is love, and when we are one with Him and we understand that, that our hearts are aligned with Him again, we will then know how to love properly, right? And
But I think the closest from like some recent podcast or something I heard is that the closest you can to practice love is having kids. And once you have kids, you kind of can get a little taste of what true love is. Because no matter what your kid turn out to be,
yeah,
it's your first time that you will, like, it's part of you.
Mhm.
That's you.
Yep.
Right there. You sacrifice yourself for him.
You go from
Or her.
just child, your entire life, you're your parents' child.
Yeah.
Now you're a parent yourself. So you're both parent and child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have this new dynamic.
And you have to love that person no matter what.
Yeah, but I mean it's sad because can't say that all parents like they've shown love. I mean, obviously because there's sin, there is that selfish desire
Yep.
of just wanting yourself to gain, right? We live in a world that kids don't really know what love is from their parents.
But I think from what I see, there's still hope. Some parents, they just got clouded by their own desires, by the pride.
Yep.
Or there are successes, there are failures. So some just failed and then they
some,
give up.
they fail first, then they succeed. Like, so
It's a constant thing.
it's a constant thing, and sometimes you remove the veil to the mirror or something. Or I don't know what's the saying, but everything just become a bit clearer. Then they start making the right choices. I think that is not too late also. A lot of people just lack thinking about love in this way, and I think this message is someone that, like, people out there really need to listen and like try.
Yeah, I feel like if everyone learns how to love, right, quote unquote, everyone learns how to stop thinking of themselves. That's a layman term and a harsh way to say it. But so if everyone learns how to love and put someone's needs above themselves, right, this world will be so much better, right?
But it's so fucking hard. So hard.
Yeah, it is hard because there even I myself, right, there are days where I just don't wanna, like, my parents come to me after a long day and they are nagging about me about something, and I just respond in an unloving way. It's so difficult, and that's why we all need God. To me, that's why
I like that you brought up this entire sort of like and love thing, because this straight up was a shower thought this morning. I was like, I actually don't really like a lot of people, or most people.
Yeah.
Then I was like, but I love them. That's why I am doing stuff even still.
Yeah. It's always the difficult people to love. There's this term coined in the Bible. I think if you read in James, like, why should you gain credit for loving somebody that you like? Because everyone can do that.
Yeah.
But if you love somebody that you kind of dislike or it's difficult to love, then that's true love. Because why would you, like, even the Bible says even the pagans do that, right? They love one another because they are alike. They like each other. It's so easy to do that because they are alike.
Everyone has the ability to love.
Yes, but to do it for somebody that you're just like, wow, this person damn annoying.
This person is wrong me.
I tahan this guy, really, right?
When it's easy, you can just give 20% and choose to love. But when it's hard, you kind of have to force yourself to be 100%.
Yeah.
And the act of that is
It's so
it
difficult.
tells so much.
Yeah, but it tells a lot.
Mm.
You know, it's like, yeah, in spite of what you feel.
Okay, so curious on the topic of love. Do you have any relationship, anything going on right now?
Anything. Yes, I am
Ooh.
dating somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all the audience just immediately click off.
What?
Dislike.
No, but yes, I am dating somebody.
Mm.
From she's from another church.
Mm.
Yeah, but
How is it going?
going great. Honestly, I'm so grateful because yeah lah, like she also understands like this whole concept of love. This thing where we have to choose each other. We have to choose one another, obviously, right? To be okay, for example, like I'm doing my own thing, and she knows that means a lot to me, right?
Yeah.
She's okay with that and allowing me to do that with the freedom of knowing, understanding that she's gonna be there at the end of the day. I mean, to text her, right? Even though I'm so busy the whole day, right? That is because not everyone can do that.
I think it's awesome that you find this because I think it builds a lot of trust. Because if you put faith on this like concept of love, instead of just like nowadays it's easy to I got a lot of like degeneracy going on. If you put faith in this, you have more trust in each other to develop that. Cultivate that environment.
Yeah. And then nowadays the love that we see is like, oh, if you will love me, you spend more time with me. Like
just a bit calculative.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Childish,
it's not, that's not love. I mean, obviously the time I spend with her is something that I also prioritize. Right? But it's not something that it's like we have to love one another. Right? That means I have to love you and your time. Right? Whatever you do with your time, I have to love that as well. I have to learn that, obviously I don't just accept everything that she's gonna do, and she doesn't just accept everything I'm gonna do. Like, for example, like I'm just gonna waste my time in a club. Like,
this is the heart lah.
Yeah lah. It's just the heart lah. Why are you doing things? What's the intention?
You follow each other's heart.
Exactly.
Because
right.
Our heart is towards the right thing,
Yep.
even though we might not be perfect.
Yep.
It's a give and take.
Yep. Exactly. It's in a relationship, it's never 50-50. It's always 100-100. Right.
I know that sounds a bit like overused, but it's very true.
Yes, it's so true. It's because there'll be days where I can't show that love. There'll be days where I'm just tired. There'll be days I'm weak. There'll be days like, I'm at 30%.
Yeah.
She still has to make up that so that this relationship can be stable. Right. And then there'll be days that she's also 30%. And I have to be the one that is there, right, to make us.
And then going down the road, there will be fights also.
Yep.
But how you choose to face that fight and use that fight to move forward in the relationship. I think it's another thing, it's a telltale of like where your heart is also. Yeah.
Just to put your partner's needs above yours. To just have that love. And when you show it, it's so much easier for them to show it back. Right. And I always tell people it starts from you. It starts from like what you can do, right? How you can show love, even if it takes a while for them to show it back, right? You don't do it for them to show it back. I mean, obviously in a relationship, it'll be a bit difficult if you can't.
Yeah.
And then you have to start rethinking about the relationship. But in life in general, you don't show love to receive it back. You show love because you love that person, right? But obviously in a relationship, I don't think
you found someone you choose to be with that person.
Yes.
So once you choose to be with the person, you kind of have to. I mean, if it's like you are on the dating before you got together phase, maybe you can like on a day whereby she just don't put in or like you just don't feel that. Maybe you can rethink and maybe like go back to the drawing board first. Yeah. But once you choose to be together,
like
it's a commitment.
Yeah.
Like marriage.
Yeah,
like commitment.
marriage.
So that day when you get married, it's a commitment. Say, I'm choosing you, no matter who else comes along, no matter what happens, no matter in what the marriage vow says, till death do us part, right? No matter what happens, I'm gonna choose you, right? Obviously not above God, because God is in the center of the relationship.
Foundation.
And foundation of our relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, God is the one that brings us closer. Right? We always look at it as a triangle, right? Like a triangle. God is on top, and we are both here. The closer we get to God, the closer we get to one another. Right? And that's how we see it, right? Because the more you learn about God, because God is love, the more you learn about God, the more you learn about love, the more you know how to love one another. And that's the same with anyone in the world. Because you know God, you know how to love people. You know how to love your neighbor, you know how to love your enemy. Because you know God.
Yeah. And
That's
if you, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you start to allow like the opposite of love, which sometimes hate, sometimes it's like just nonchalance, just choosing to ignore even though you have the capacity to, slowly it will kind of affect your whole life.
Exactly.
It will slip into your whole life.
Yeah. If the more you choose, you don't choose love, right? In the Bible, it's either love or there's not love, right? It's either the flesh or the spirit. The fruits of the spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, all these things. Then there are quote unquote fruits of the flesh, right? The what is the flesh, right? That's all. If you see, there's a long list right, in the Bible.
All the instant gratification kind of things.
Your to gratify your own flesh, to gratify yourself, these things, right? And what does the Bible say? The flesh and spirit, and the flesh and spirit are never in agreement. They're always contrary to one another. So that's why it's so important for us to live in that love, to choose love, to choose joy, right? To choose joy. To
I think choosing joy is something I recently just got awareness of and trying to practice. Like, it's quite a powerful thing. Just choosing to be in a positive frame, choosing to be happy. I think that really, like, I think I read this book called Happiness Advantage. Like, happiness don't orbit around success, because a lot of successful people are really not happy. You get accepted to the uni you want, but your goalposts just move forward. Or you get this pay raise, your goalposts just move forward. You won't be happy if you just keep chasing success. But it's the other way around. Success orbits around happiness. When you choose to be happy, when you choose to cultivate that happiness for everyone also, that is when success follows.
Yeah. I think that's very true. To choose joy is something that's also very difficult. Right? I think there's one thing. Joy and happiness are two different things as well. Right? To choose to do the joyful thing, to inflict joy, to bring joy, is something totally different than to feel happy for yourself.
What was the difference?
I would say, a lot similar like love. It's almost like a choice, right? In fact, I would say joy is under that branch of love, right? So it's kind of like a tree. There's love, and then there's when you love somebody, you would want to bring joy to that person. You would want to have a joyful relationship with that person. You would choose to do joyful things.
Okay.
Then there's patience. You would choose to be patient with that person. The other fruits of the spirit, kindness.
I think it's more, maybe love is the root of everything, and then that's why it's called the fruits of the spirit, right?
Yes.
So love, the root, the foundation, everything that it grows on.
Yeah. Actually, it's quite interesting because in the Bible it actually says, it doesn't say fruits, it says fruit. Right? The fruit being love, and then it bears all the other things, which is joy, kindness, patience, long suffering.
Bite into the fruit and then it's like taste all the different flavors.
Yeah, I guess you could put it in
patience,
that way,
kindness,
right?
goodness, faithfulness.
Yeah, I think I'm not too sure on this. I'm not like some.
Yeah, it's our own interpretation.
Yeah,
I mean, even the philosophers, the people that study this for so long, they are unable to fully articulate to everyone also. I think it's more of a learning process, and everyone have to experience it slowly. And not everyone can experience every flavor also. So it's just more like, what do you need to work on, and what do you have set your mind to at this phase of your life?
Yeah, I mean, of course, as a Christian, I would say you can actually receive all these things. which is found in Christ.
I think we do sort of on a daily or like in life, you will just experience so many of these. Because you experience both good things and bad things.
Mhm. Yeah. Just to experience everything in life that life has to offer, right? You get to choose lah. You get to choose whether you want to be patient with this person, or you choose not to be patient with this person,
Right.
or to be kind, not to be kind, or to be gentle, not to be gentle, right? All these things, it's all really down to us and what we choose, right? And sometimes I feel like, for me, when I try to do it on my own, when I try to do it with my own strength, I find it impossible. I will have like a good run a few days in a row, and then I fail. And then a good run a few days in a row, maybe a few hours, and then I fail. And it's just this cycle. And then you kind of come to this point, it's like, how do I constantly be in this state? Because I'm a human, right? We will all one day kind of fall short, right?
Ruts also. Sometimes you just fall into ruts, like a week of just feeling down,
Exactly,
doing the wrong things.
exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we then live, right? Like if we're meant to be in this state where we are supposed to be loving and kind and all this, like it's impossible. And then that's where the answer is. To me, where I found my answers in God, right?
We are like finite beings. We are limited. They say, know your limits, sort of thing. We have limits. So, what is your source? If your source is yourself, then
you will run
there will be a limit to everything. But if you're tapping into a, let's say, infinite source, then God
is an eternal being. Eternal doesn't. This is another concept. Eternal doesn't necessarily mean forever. Eternal and forever are two different things, right? Eternal is beyond forever. It's something that has been there from the start, right? Forever doesn't necessarily mean that it's been there from the start. Forever means it has come and then it will last forever. But eternal means there is no beginning because it's been there from the start, right? And how us humans we view time is very linear, right? It's like there's a start and then there's an end. But then how God views, he's literally outside of time.
We are little ant on the ground. God is just observing.
I would even say it's come to size. I would say
you cannot quantify.
Yes, it's
infinitely.
It's not this dimension.
Yeah, if you were to say something like, if there has to be a creator of time, matter, energy, these three things, right? If someone has to be a creator of time, he has to be outside of time.
And eternal is basically outside of time.
Yes.
Forever is kind of, even if it's from start to end, it's still limited in
exactly,
that timeline.
Exactly.
That time
yes.
is restrained.
So eternal, it's how the Bible describes it: the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. The you are there. He is there. Sorry. From the beginning, and like there is no beginning lah. He's just been there. Yeah.
Oh, but I just want to take a second to say, I'm happy that you found someone that is really is on this journey together with you, because it's not say it's rare, but you took that chance, like when you see someone come along and you are prepared for it because of your hard work and your relentless pursuit to be better, and also like choosing God, choosing love.
It is a blessing.
It's a blessing. It's a really big blessing. I'm so grateful.
I'm not saying that it's gonna be smooth sailing, or it's not gonna, or it's gonna have a lot of challenges. It could be anything, but just the fact that you took that opportunity.
You're happy for him.
Yeah. I'm grateful that found somebody. He's probably gonna watch this that understands the choice that we both made, right? And just to have the security in knowing that she made the same choice that I made, right? To journey through this, right? Where it ends, we don't know. Obviously, the goal is the ends, or not end, the new beginning, I would like to say, which is marriage, right? We want to get there, right? But we know it's a choice and it's a journey. Every single day is a journey. That journey starts with us and starts with how we love one another. Yeah. And we both know, we only can love one another when we know what love is. And that comes with an everyday of learning how to love. So, yeah, lah, I'm just so grateful. Lah. I'm really very grateful. Yeah.
At first, I was trying to, I was just talking to Josiah about like what kind of questions I would probably ask you. A lot, it would be on faith, but I just realized today I didn't even explicitly ask for faith, but I can tell that faith has guided you, has given you so much wisdom that like I can't believe you're 19, first of all. I'm learning so much from you. No, like legit.
I feel offended.
You should.
I mean,
if you speak to the people around me, you can maybe understand. I mean, the people around me, they've been great lah. Like just the community, the people that I've grown with, like my brother, my family, the people in my church, everyone around me lah, right? And then of course, owe it to God, the experiences He brought me through, right? I think it's kind of upon myself. When I was young, I was always so annoyed about being immature.
Immature.
So I was the younger brother lah. I'm the younger brother, and like
is that where you get your competitiveness?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I can tell when we are playing badminton. yeah. But I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed playing with someone competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like you're like pushing each other to strive for the best.
To be better. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, then it's like when you're young and you know that you have a brother that's mature and everything, and then like my parents will explain to him stuff, but won't explain to me stuff. I'm like, why don't explain to me? Like I feel like, you think I'm so immature, man, I won't understand. Right? But it's like, yeah lah. So it kind of a little bit from that, I guess. Then it ended up me wanting to always like, I want to know. Like, yeah. But then recently, I've come to a place where I also realized like, sometimes I don't need to know everything. Sometimes I just need to be able to live life and be okay with things. Be okay with not knowing why things happen. Right? To surrender like the need to know why about a lot of things.
I think that is true maturity. In that sense, when you're young, it's still a selfish desire to feel more important, that you want to know more, that, I'm not better than my older brother that is like maybe 2-3 years more mature than me. But you pass that line whereby some people out there, instead of choosing like I want to know more, they just choose to like, give up, like, or they subscribe to the identity that, or maybe I'm just dumber than my brother. Some people choose that more, I would say like gloomy kind of take. But you chose I want to win. But it's still kind of out of selfishness. Like it's the energy that is not that. It's not out of love. Yeah. Then now you are slowly learning how to transcend up like beyond that, and learn how to just be okay with everything and just do your best.
Yeah.
And just live life.
Yeah, I think it's not that I'll stop learning. I think you can never stop learning, right?
We wouldn't want to, if not, life will be
a bit boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No progress.
Yeah, and just to be able to constantly learn from the people around me, just having more mature, like, because maybe why also because when I was young, like I was always like with following my brother around things, right? So all his friends, even friends that were older than him, I would hang out with. I was just constantly hang out with older people.
That really helps you grow.
Yeah, and then I just lean into conversations, be it like for that time when I was 13, I lean into conversations that are like 16, 17-year-old. They'll be talking about gossip, this kind of thing. And I'll just learn, right? I'll just like, oh, so that's what the world is like,
But do you feel that after your sources are from older people, you can't really click with your own age group? Do you find that to be true?
Yes. Yes and no lah. I think there was a period of time, yes, where a lot of people my school classmates, even in secondary school, I would have friends. I'll be close to some people, right? But I just felt like I could never really like hold like a conversation that I would normally have with like other people, right? And yeah,
but you found a community that of the people of like the same age, but is willing to talk about all these things also.
Yes,
the deeper
yes,
topics.
Yes. I mean, it took time. Obviously, it came when I came to like prayer point and all these things, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, but I was never. I mean, there was a point of time where I kind of like you said, there was those people where they chose that path of like, I'm just worse than my brother. I'm just worse than. I'm not dumb. I'm not smart. I'm just dumb. The kind of thing. And there was this period of time where I was like that, because there was this point of time where my brother was doing so much in the Christian space, and I wasn't doing anything. And in fact, I was kind of falling away from the faith. Which God had to bring me through lah. He had to bring me through to, if you ever read about, there's a story of the prodigal son. And it kind of felt like that, right? To kind of stray away, try to do life my own thing, even though it's like I still think I'm God's son and all that, but I just live my life my own way.
A rebel for a while.
Yeah,
in a sense.
and then just be like, accept it lah. Like, I'm not like my brother. I'm just gonna do my own thing and all that. And
what about your self-talk? At that point of time, must be quite harsh. The way you talk to yourself.
Kind of. Yeah, I guess you could say that. But yeah, lor. Then it came to a point where I just felt so lost. Felt super lost. I felt like, what's the point of life? Even. And then I turned to God again. Because obviously I'm fortunate enough to be in a home where my parents talked about God. So, yeah. And then after finding God again, after being so far, I just fell in love with God again. And going to church, reading about His Word, falling in love with His Word, to constantly find myself in that. It was the best experience you could say lah for my life. Then, it's like God bring me through this now quite early in my life. I'm so grateful, right? And it has led me to now become where I am today, I guess. Obviously, I know that there's more. I know that God definitely has more, right? But just to look at that and say, yeah, God brought me through that for me to understand what I have to do now. Even at the age of 19, I would say, okay lah, it's appropriate age. But other people, different people will go through at a different pace, right?
Yep.
Everyone's just learning in their own different pace, and I was just fortunate enough for God to bring me through that. And
from what I hear, you're also very grateful for your parents because you keep bringing out your parents.
Yeah, I'm
like,
eternally grateful for my parents.
They sound like they did something right lah, to be able to put you in that environment, to guide you, to offer you love, support. I think that's something very important, because although I'm nowhere ready to be a dad, but like I think we talked about this in the past few episodes about like parenthood and stuff. It starts early also, like to have this in our mind, like, oh, what should parents, what role should a parent act as in the child's life? I think what your parent did is give you the freedom but still show you support and love.
Yes, I think they did a great job. They did. They allowed me to fail. They allowed me to do things and discover. But at the same time, they one thing they did, they prayed a lot. They prayed so much. I know that they just wanted me to experience what I had to experience. Allow me to fail, right? Guided me even when I didn't want the guidance. Things like that.
That's love lah.
Yeah, that is love lah. And no matter how far I stray away, I know that they'll still be there. I'm not saying our relationship has been perfect our whole life. There's always been times, right? Stories for another day.
It's the same thing again about when it's hard and you still choose to love. That just shows how the magnitude of it.
Exactly. That's what love is lah.
But you've had exposure to love from a young age.
Yep. And I think that is one of the biggest roles as a parent lah. Because you're your child's hero lah. Right? When they first come into the world, and you are the embodiment and supposed figure of love for them. How the dad loves the kids or how the mom loves the kids is how they will perceive love in the future. And yeah lah, that's what really happened, I guess. They were not perfect, but they definitely knew what love was lah.
They were striving to build their character lah. And you seeing that also helps you to
Yeah.
put importance in building that character also.
Yep.
I think parents, they are the first one, and kids, we are the most malleable. Our brain during development, the most like neuroplasticity. So, but I think there's still a lot of ways you can still learn. There's no like, I think personally, I'm that case. Like parents not the best role model, but learn and like influence everyone. Then I can see even till today, my parents are still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you say there's like things like in store for you in the future. What do you have any idea, like roughly which avenue you are putting, I think, more importance on now?
I would say I mean, obviously there's like education. What I want to do in my life. I mean, there's NS, right, in Singapore.
Very soon.
Yeah, very, very soon. And I think that's gonna be another big trial of my life. But I'm ready lah. I'm excited. I literally this month. Next month.
Commando.
I got Commando's vocational assessment. So I'll just do that, see where it takes me. Honestly, I don't mind being a commando. I don't mind not being a commando. I'm okay with everything. Just see where it goes. But one thing I definitely want to do is go to Bible school of some sort. At one point of time lah, be it like a short one, 3 months, or like a long one. Okay, but yeah, I want to do that. Just to experience and then see where it takes me after that. Well, obviously, if it were very up to me, I like sports. I wouldn't mind sports science. I wouldn't mind like nutrition. Anything in that field also, I don't mind.
Or it could be your own concoction. It's just that now nothing is set in stone yet. You're just learning into the things you like, learning the things you are good at. Then maybe one day everything will come together, be of your best service, and you still enjoy it. Fulfillment.
Yeah.
You teach people how to love. I
think one thing is also learning to gain fulfillment from even the things maybe you don't like. Right. It's just to learn how to like it.
Yeah.
Another skill.
It's a bit like the choosing to be choosing joy.
Yeah.
It's like you can see your current job as like a menial task that you just want to earn money. You can see it as a calling for something potentially bigger than just you. You might not know where it leads you, but choosing to see it as a calling, that's 10 times better, because that puts you in such a positive mindset. They start attracting, start looking for things that I guess is in line with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one thing that people can take away from this podcast is a lot of things are choices. Like
choices.
So many choices.
Yep. You can control, choose to control the things that you can control lah. Don't have to constantly dwell on the things that you can't control.
Dwelling is a choice. Whether you want to dwell or not.
Yeah, whether you want to dwell on it or not is a choice.
Humans, we have agency. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that's it, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. To wrap this all up, I want to ask you, what do you love or admire the most about Jesus?
I mean, it's cliche, but I guess you could literally look at him dying on the cross and just get amazed by it. There was one period of time where everything is just like the definition of love. If it were to be written into an example, it would be him dying on the cross. The act to save all of us. He had no gain. He was sinless. All of us had to pay for that, what he went through, that life, right? Knowing what he had to go through, even the ability to escape it, having the ability to escape it, but yet he chose not to. To endure that, not even just from the days on that day itself, but even leading up to those days, knowing that he had to do that, and he could have called it quits at any moment of time. knowing that he was fully man and fully God, fully man, knowing every emotion that a human could go through, right? To the point where he was sweating blood, to the point where he had to mourn over a friend, to choose to come here even, right? From a paradise to come here and live the life that any other human would live, but live it in a way that is honorable and holy and righteous.
Also symbolic.
Yeah, is just so amazing, and it's something that I'm eternally grateful for. Just like, who would do that, right? Who would do that? Like, people can say I would do that, but to save the world, that kind of thing. But it's like to know that what he went through, to know the spending 33 years here, right, on earth, to live a life, especially after knowing that you were in paradise, right? I don't know how many people would have made that decision, but that is love lah, right? That is the greatest, purest form of love. And that's what I admire the most. Admiring his love for us and how it is an example for us to love one another and love him.
I mean, I am also grateful that you put in so much work and just thinking, reflecting on these topics, and like this episode I learned a lot. And
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Really encouraged.
It's quite like, I know there's a lot of like from my world, I know a lot of people that are away from Christianity because of the bad actors in the past. But it's just amazing to see someone like you that put in so much work and is able to communicate this much knowledge and wisdom to just anyone. I think you just want to share, maybe potentially teach people how to love. And people that listen to this, they will have, moving forward, they have so much more to work with to maybe one day just make that choice to take control of how they view life, how they love. I think that is a very powerful message. Like, really, thank you for your time also.
I'm grateful, and I'm just grateful that God is able to speak to both of us, right? God has also spoken to me in this podcast. I'm pretty sure there'll be more conversations after this.
I think there will be.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot more stories, There's a lot more stories.
Cameras did.
Yeah.
Just
all right.
Yeah.
So we just end this here.
All right. See you.
where's your? Why are you?
Don't have.